Hi, my name is Steph, or Steph Rowe, poet and author, and this is my first book review, and I've decided to read Tell Me Again by Amy Thunig, which is an absolutely incredible book to read. It's of an Australian First Nations author who has a phenomenal storytelling writing style. There is 28 chapters in Tell Me Again. It is definitely written in shorter stories. So in those 28 chapters, you've got lots of little stories. There is... I like that personally. That's how I wrote my book, but I love that style. So you can kind of pick it up and kind of keep reading. But each kind of chapter has it goes from childhood to something connected to her life, when she's older, and then back again. It goes, those connections and flow throughout the 28 chapters is really, really well done. 3/4 of the book is definitely more orientated to her younger life and the stories around that. And the last kind of quarter really focuses on her as a young adult and then into her older years and her now, which I personally would have liked a little bit more of. But she does talk throughout the entire book about, when she's going backwards and forwards, about her life now. Well, then when she wrote it. Now, this book is like you're sitting down and you know her, and it's a writer does such a good job when you feel like you are sitting with them and they're telling you about their life story. When, it was almost like I knew her, but I didn't. I have never met her. I don't know her. I didn't even know her until I seen the book in a bookstore and started reading a bit and was like, wow, I really like this writing style. I think I'm going to buy it. Bought it and then read it within literally 4 days. I could not put the book down. The book covers sexual abuse, very, very small amount, and doesn't go in depth. So it does cover off on domestic abuse, but also abuse to children. It goes through domestic abuse within relationships when she's older. It talks about, deep levels of poverty and starvation of her as a child. And it goes through the struggles of poverty and what that actually looks like. I really enjoyed it. I wish there was a couple of things that I wish that Amy Thunig kind of went more in depth with. One being, I really, really wanted to see more of her culture, and I wanted she's touched on it a couple of times where she spoke about going out to land with her community and with her family, and how it reduced her anxiety and it almost brought this calmness to her life, and how she realized how important that was to be with community and to be with land. But, I really enjoyed those moments in the book, and personally, I would have really appreciated a bit more. I wanted to know more. I was more like, I'm a sponge. Give me more, give me more. There was another part. So my friend was here while I was reading this book, and we had many conversations over the time that she was here about this book, with my friend. Now, there is an element which I triggered me, I didn't agree with, and that's literally just because of my own personal experience. But there is a thread, essentially, that goes through the entire book. The concept is around Cinderella being a princess, a castle, that kind of feel. Definitely, I could definitely see throughout her entire story that she she really wanted to feel like a princess, and I can understand that. But for me personally, through my experience, even from a very young age, I just did not connect with that. I didn't like Barbies. I didn't like pink. I still kind of don't like pink. Like I've had to kind of deal with that personally, in the sense of like, why don't I like pink? Why is that so? Why have I steered away from that? And it's been a really deep kind of journey for myself. But as a young girl, I could definitely identify that they were pushing, this femininity, like this, like I have to be a little girl and I have to fit into this little box and I have to, play with the Barbies and all the rest of it. And I just remember going, I don't want this. I don't like this. Why are you forcing this upon me? And so she definitely talks a lot about that in the book. And I just couldn't relate to it. I just found it a bit, for me, it was almost like centralizing a man. Like a woman's purpose is, to surround a man, really. And that's how I interpreted it in that concept that she was talking about, of being like a Cinderella and going to the castles. And for me, from a young age, I never seen men as a safe place. And that's my experience, but I never seen men as a safe place. So as I grew up, I never had that concept. I never seen how men could ever benefit my life, because they had only brought, trauma and violence and manipulation. And so for me it was very different. I suppose from a very early age I was very conscious and very wary of men, rather than thinking that they were going to save me or I was going to go into their world. So yeah, she does talk about that multiple times, but yeah, obviously I didn't agree with that. But it was great, because the best thing about Tell Me Again is that everybody has a story, and you can read the story. Like I really connected with a lot of her story. But the best part about this is that we get to actually read it, interpret it, have discussions outside of the book with other people. It pushes us to kind of go back and think about things. Like that's what I really enjoyed about this book. It brought up so many conversations with my friend, which, we really hadn't kind of, if I wasn't reading this book, I wouldn't have been talking to her about it. So I think that was really positive. But girl, oh girl, oh girl, when it came to you having to leave your home, if you ever see this, and you having that one bag, and you had to like pack all your life into that one bag, and like I felt like we had lived the same story, just in different worlds. Because like I went through exactly the same thing. Like there was moments in this book, Tell Me Again, where I was like, I know that we're not the same person, but goddamn, there was some rhyming experiences that when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I feel you to the depths of my core. Like it was almost like, yeah, like I could feel exactly what you were feeling. It took me back to those times in my life. So yeah, there are lots of happy moments, but there's also lots of sad moments. And I just love the fact that she didn't shy away, that she was courageous enough to write this book, that, she was touching on really hard subjects like addiction. Like that, these aren't easy things, but I think they're really instrumental in how we actually approach people from different backgrounds, from different ethnicities, the complexity of being human, the pressures that come and bear down on us when we're living in this capitalist system. And really, this story is what it's like to live as a coloured human, or First Nations person in Australia. Not everyone, but I'm really proud of Amy for going there and for being strong. And I would have liked a little bit more context and a little bit more depth in some of it, but also appreciate and respect why she didn't. So Amy Thunig, go buy it. Go to your libraries. Go and support this incredible First Nation Australian author. I highly recommend you do. Bye, darling.